This is Power Lines, the show that pulls back the curtain on how power really works. Your hosts are Robbie and Terry, both 15. Every week they break down who really runs things and how regular people can push back.
Welcome back to Power Lines, the show that pulls back the curtain on how power really works. I'm Terry.
And I'm Robbie, and today we're asking the big question. Does protesting actually change anything, or is it just really loud complaining?
Which honestly, sometimes complaining is the point, but let's find out if it works.
So first, let's agree on what a protest even is, because it's not just people with signs yelling at buildings.
It's organized public action meant to pressure decision makers. Marches, strikes, sit-ins, boycotts, even social media storms count.
And humans have been doing this forever. But let's talk results because that's the real test.
Okay, Exhibit A, the Montgomery bus boycott 1955 to 56. Black residents refused to ride buses for 381 days.
And it worked. The Supreme Court ruled bus segregation unconstitutional, which is a massive concrete win.
But here's the thing, it wasn't just the protest, there was also a lawsuit running at the same time.
Right. So protests rarely work alone. They're more like the engine that keeps legal and political pressure moving.
Think of it like a group project. Protesting is the kid who won't let everyone else forget the deadline.
Extremely relatable. So what does research actually say about effectiveness?
A political scientist named Erica Chenoweth studied hundreds of movements and found nonviolent campaigns succeed about 53% of the time.
53%. That's more than half, which honestly surprised me when I first heard that.
Compared to violent uprisings, which succeed only about 26% of the time, nonviolent protests is basically twice as effective.
So being peaceful isn't just morally better, it's strategically smarter too, which is kind of a beautiful fact.
Her research also found that if about 3.5% of a population actively participates, movements almost always win.
3.5% sounds tiny, but in the US that's roughly 11 million people, which is very much not tiny.
So scale matters. 100 people outside City Hall is different from 1,000,000 people in the Capitol.
But here's the honest counter-argument. Sometimes protests happen and absolutely nothing changes, right?
Oh, absolutely. The February 2003 global marches against the Iraq War were the largest in history. And the war happened anyway.
Millions of people in over 600 cities worldwide, and the decision makers basically said, cool, noted, we're going anyway.
So that's a real case study in how protests can fail. When leaders feel insulated from public pressure, the lever doesn't connect.
It's like honking at a driver with really good noise-canceling headphones.
But even that example has a footnote. Those protests shaped public opinion long-term and made future war decisions politically harder.
So sometimes the win isn't immediate. It's more like planting seeds that grow into policy years later.
The civil rights movement took decades of sustained action before the Civil Rights Act passed in 1964.
And the women's suffrage movement in the US started in 1848 and didn't win voting rights until 1920, 72 years later.
So if you're protesting expecting results by Friday, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment.
Which raises the question, what makes a protest actually effective versus just cathartic?
Research points to a few things: clear specific demands, broad coalition building, and maintaining nonviolent discipline.
Vague demands are protest kryptonite, fix everything is harder to legislate than pass this specific bill.
Also, disruption matters. Movements that create enough inconvenience tend to get more negotiating power at the table.
Though there's always a debate about how much disruption helps versus turning people against your cause.
That tension is genuinely hard. History keeps showing that disruptive tactics get criticized in the moment, but credited in the history books.
Martin Luther King was wildly unpopular in polls during the Birmingham campaign, and now he's on a national holiday.
Public opinion on protest tactics tends to flip once the cause wins, which is kind of a cheat code for history.
So to bring it together, protesting can change things, but it works best as part of a bigger strategy.
Combined with voting, legal challenges, community organizing, and sustained pressure over time, it becomes genuinely powerful.
And even when it doesn't win immediately, it shifts what's considered possible. It moves the whole conversation.
That's maybe the sneakiest power of protest. It rewrites what normal looks like, and that's hard to undo.
So next time you see people marching about something, whether you agree with them or not, you're watching democracy doing push-ups.
Getting stronger even when the immediate result isn't visible yet, which is honestly kind of inspiring.
Thanks for nerding out on civic power with us today. Democracy is weird and complicated and worth understanding.
Do your homework, ask hard questions, and remember that history was made by people who refuse to just accept things as they are.
Until next time, keep pulling back the curtain. See you next week on Power Lines.